If you had to get five different words to describe the energy that you feel with people with horse racing, what are some words that you would use to describe horse racing to somebody else?
Oh, jeez. Some words to describe horse racing to somebody else. Palpable. The energy's palpable. You can feel it in the room. Intensity, certainly, you can feel everyone just watching as the cage is rolling, just staring, waiting for it. Electric, it really is an electric energy out there. Everybody's up. The whole crowd is up, and that's the really cool thing about it. It's not just a table here, a table there, one part of the room. Everybody's into it.
My parents, who bought Woodloch in 1958, just prior to going to buying Woodloch, they went on a cruise, which they'd never done before. And on this cruise, they had shipboard horse racing, the same as we're doing now. They had some horses, in a small way, horses and dice game. So we opened in 1958, the little boarding house. Really didn't have entertainment at all during that time. And then in 1961, Dad said, we can't really live on what we're doing here. There's not enough volume. We need to get a little bit bigger. And the girls' camp came up for sale for $60,000. So we raised $60,000 the summer of '61, and we bought Camp Tidiascong right after Labor Day in 1961. But that small area, we had enough area we could get some people in and do some things. So one of the first things he did was, let's try the thing we saw on the cruise. So we started doing horse racing. He called the races himself until I was in college, maybe. But he wouldn't let anybody but a family member call the races. So for 20 years, I called the races. And then Randy Barnes, who was my fraternity brother at Cornell, when I came back in '73 from the service, Randy was still here. He had married one of our waitresses. He had a big personality and he was always a party guy. So I made him our social director. And when I stopped calling the races, I handed it over to Randy Barnes. And then Randy Barnes called the races for, I don't know, I'm using big terms, 20 years, but a long time. And then when he decided to retire, we had Scooter call the races.
Scooter had big shoes to fill, literally and figuratively, with Randy. The great thing about Scooter is he's very professional. He takes it very seriously, but you can't tell that. So I think that the thing that I enjoy about watching is he jokes around with the guests and he has a lot of fun with them, but he wants it to be great. Whether he's sick as a dog or feeling great, he's going out there and giving the same effort, whether there's 50 guests or 1,000 guests in the room. As an owner, that's great to see. And I think for the guest experience, that's something that's kind of underrated, something that you may not know from the outside looking at it. As much fun as he is having up there, he still takes it very seriously to make sure that everyone has a great time.
Whoa, hold everything. Luckily, the jockey's caught at a time. We have a situation.
And I think horse racing has lasted so long because it appeals to everybody, young and old. Like I said, you have the 3-year-old that gets really excited to cheer on a horse, and you have a 90-year-old that gets really excited. There's so many elements to horse racing, even though it's the same, it's always different because the roll of the dice is really what makes the horses win. So you don't know the outcome. You're not coming up with new trivia questions. You're not coming up with new games, the same thing, but you don't know the outcome. And between that, and all the other factors that just explained, I think that just makes it exciting. And I think the fact that it appeals to everybody, the joy that is created and that you can feel in the rooms is just awesome.